Sherry, the snow may not be coming down right now, but that wasn't the case earlier today. Joining us now live is Ingham County Sheriff Scott Rigglesworth. Not including Michigan, there are 20 states that allow voters to take pictures with their ballot. But the question is, if this bill were to pass, what would it mean for the state of Michigan? Come take a walk with me. I want you to take a look at these snow plows here at the Ingham County Road Department. The dozens of students that have been gathered around the MSU Board of Trustees table all day today, it backs up right along the Grand River. And today, the museum was closed because of the chance of flooding. These women are gearing up to head to D.C. for the Women's March, and they say the first step to having their voices heard starts on this bus. For the Texas A&M volleyball team, it's a disaster that really hits close to home. What I want you to take a look at are these huge piles of salt over here. Come take a walk with me. Even though the speed limit is 70 miles per hour right now, we all know not everybody sticks to that speed. We continue to follow the latest developments in a school shooting in Indiana. Police say it looks like there were multiple people who took off on foot. There is a possibility of a white Christmas after all.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of snow, but maybe enough to try out the new sled, just a couple inches.
Albion police say they have 2 people in custody for allegedly shooting a man and leading officers on a car chase Friday night.
I help make those M&Ms and the goldfish.
Oh, okay.
When 9-year-old Lucy Highland learned about the events happening at the U.S.-Mexico border, she says she was devastated and felt
just really defeated. It was really sad. I just couldn't imagine being separated from my family.
Highland says she felt she needed to do something, and while brainstorming ideas, she knew a bake sale would be a great way to get people interested.
Thank you. Wow.
We're going to send that to a charity.
And that charity is Races, a nonprofit in Texas. Highland's mom, Tally, says she jumped on board as soon as her daughter came up with the idea.
I was really proud, and I thought, okay, what we're doing is working to show her that small things can make a difference.
Highland says as a mother, she couldn't imagine the struggle families are currently facing at the border and knew this bake sale could help.
You feel helpless, but it's like, no, there's something that we can do. We have to do something and fight against this because this isn't right.
And she says the overwhelming amount of community support has been astounding.
There are things that we can do in our own community that make a difference, and this is a great way to do it and get some baked goods in the process.
It just restores your faith in humanity to see people come out of the woodwork to say thank you, to thank the kids, to thank everybody in the community for stepping up. Thank you.
And Allie Highland says this bake sale has helped raise more than $2,300 and will be taking donations until the middle of this week. If you're interested in donating, you can drop off that donation at Edgewood United Church in East Lansing or donate directly to Races. Back to you.
You're my pride and joy, aren't you?
It's a bond that's unbreakable.
You don't want the handle, you just want to fight it.
A friendship that this veteran, Marcus Batten, says is indescribable.
Every day I come out here, it's so relaxing. I can't I can't say what it is, it's just a feeling.
A feeling that he says is his way of giving back to those who have fought for our country.
It's my way of helping ease their pain.
Roughly a year ago, Marcus and his wife Lori opened a nonprofit in Olivet called Batten Farms Equine and Soldier Sanctuary.
We rescue horses from kill pens and we rehabilitate them to work with soldiers with PTSD and physical disabilities.
They use a technique called touch therapy, and perhaps the best part of it all, anyone can experience it for free.
It's peaceful. It takes the bad day away.
You're so silly. You're so silly.
So what makes this therapy worthwhile for veterans? Well, Batten says it's the connection and touch of these horses that puts their minds at ease.
You can love on them, they understand.
The goal of this organization is to provide hope and comfort to all veterans, many of whom bring the war home with them. And it's personal for Marcus because he himself served in the U.S. Air Force.
We just really want people to know it's okay and that there is places for them to go, that they will not be judged.
And Lori says while they only offer touch therapy right now, they hope to expand their services with the help of donations to allow veterans to ride the horses. Here for you in Olivet.
It's my ball. No, you can't have it.
Alysia Burgio, 6 News. You hear stories all the time about people getting convicted of a crime they didn't commit. But according to the National Registry of Exonerations, Ladura Watkins has served time in prison longer than any other falsely accused prisoner in Michigan. And while nearly 40 years of his life was spent behind bars, he says it changed him into the person he is today. 42 years ago may seem like an eternity for some people, but to Ladura Watkins, who was sentenced to life in prison for a crime he did not commit, April 15, 1976, seems like yesterday.
I kind of laughed when they sentenced me, but I know what I was feeling. What I was feeling is that this was unbelievable. This is a mistake. You know, this is something else added to this.
On that day in April, he was convicted of murder and robbery. He says he never thought he'd step foot outside prison again.
It was kind of sad. It was real sad, you know, because I knew I was leaving everything I loved.
Throughout the years, Watkins thought about how he could be falsely accused of such a serious crime. He says the days turned into months, the months turned into years, but throughout it all, he never lost hope.
I wrote Cooley Law School. I told them about my case, some of the circumstances in the case.
Back in the 1970s, prosecutors used a single strand of hair to convict Watkins. When attorneys at Cooley Law School decided to take on his case, they found that the hair comparison evidence used to lock Watkins behind bars did not meet today's legal standards. It was enough to prove his innocence.
It seemed like the stars started realigning.
We were convinced by Mr. Watkins that his case was worthy of attacking the forensic testimony and evidence presented in his case.
Marla Mitchell-Sishon, director of the Cooley Law School Innocence Project, says her team helps to free a lot of prisoners, but Watkins' story is the most significant.
It's our first murder exoneration. Second, because unfortunately, Mr. Watkins has been in prison the longest of any other Michigan prisoner.
Which led to an emotional day for Watkins when he stepped foot outside the Detroit courthouse, regaining his freedom. But he says those 4 decades behind bars helped him to reevaluate his life for the better.
Don't give up hope. Keep fighting. Keep that American spirit live.
Right now, Watkins is living with his family in Detroit. He says he's just taking things one day at a time. Allie, back to you.
Merry Christmas! Special delivery for you, bro, my friend.
For a handful of families in Jackson County, Christmas came early.
Amira?
That's you!
Merry Christmas! We targeted some people that were kind of down on their luck. Maybe they have a lot of kids, single parents, and they can't make ends meet.
It's called Operation Night Out with Santa.
It's a blessing, really. I mean, a lot of people need it, you know, and to have them reach out, you know, their families, and I think it's awesome.
There you go. We don't care if you rip the bag.
For officers at Blackman Township Department of Public Safety, this act of kindness means much more than just delivering gifts to families in the community. To them, it's putting a smile on everyone's face and making Christmas a tad brighter.
It's really a pleasure. I mean, to help somebody doesn't have certain things, or, you know, we go in some of these homes and we see that these kids don't have a lot, so it's nice to see the looks on their faces when they see Santa Claus and they see the officers that are there with him.
Troy! And we also have this for you guys as well.
Thank you, guys.
But it's not just families these officers reached out to.
Merry Christmas, buddy. Thank you for your service. You're welcome, brother.
These guys here are just making everybody's life better.
Do you think this is a good Christmas gift?
It's the best Christmas I've had in years. A lot of us veterans go without getting noticed, and that's what breaks my heart. But stuff like this gives me more hope.
Nearly $5,000 was collected from community donations to make all of this happen, to turn this holiday into an everlasting memory. Here for you in Jackson, Alysia Burgio, 6 News. Leno Johnson was hired at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office in February 2015 and was believed to be the county's first African-American road patrol deputy. In spring of 2017, he was forced to resign or otherwise be terminated after he was placed under investigation for misconduct at a local bar when he was off duty. Although Johnson proved he did not commit the act, the lawsuit claims the discrimination festered at the sheriff's office until he handed in his badge. Jackson County Sheriff Steve Rand is in the hot seat once again, facing allegations of racism and bigotry. The sheriff was slapped with a new lawsuit 1 week ago by former African-American deputy Leno Johnson. In the lawsuit, Johnson claims he received unequal treatment because of his race. It goes on to say he was passed over for special trainings, promotions, and assignments in favor of white law enforcement officers. The lawsuit states Johnson reported the discrimination, but it fell on deaf ears. These aren't the first allegations Sheriff Rand has been accused of. Earlier this year, a lawsuit claimed he was known to make inappropriate comments about minorities, gays, disabled people, and women. In fact, audio recordings were released to 6 News of Rand making these comments.
I thought you gingers stuck together with blacks.
In one recording, Sheriff Rand says he wanted to make a pornographic film with a female county employee and murder her on camera.
I want to make a snuff film with her. She's going to be the star.
Sheriff Rand sent 6 News a statement today in response to the lawsuit involving Johnson. He says, quote, "I have not seen the allegation yet, and it would not be appropriate to comment on the allegation." Meanwhile, one of Johnson's attorneys says because of Rand's history with racial discrimination, she feels this could be a strong case.
I think in this climate, people, really aren't inclined to brush off serious racial discrimination like was displayed by Sheriff Rand here.
And Sherry, according to this lawsuit, Johnson is asking for $75,000 in damages, not including costs, interest, and attorney fees. Johnson's lawyer says everything is in the preliminary stages, but we'll be sure to keep you updated with any developments. Back to you.